When I first saw the trailers for the film we're discussing today, I expected a fun romp of a young boy who has an imaginary friend who just happens to be Hitler. But I don't think I'm alone in this, because in the cinema there were a bunch of younger people who I wouldn't have thought would have gone to a film knowing what it was. So even though I was only half paying attention to the trailer, that's why I think other people have also come to the same conclusion. And in case you're wondering why I'm talking about a cinema experience, if you're over in the States, you got the wide release, I believe, theatrically in sort of November time. We didn't get it until sort of January time, and I went quite recently, sort of towards the tail end of its run. So to us, it's still a cinema piece. To you, you've probably already got it on home release. So that's why I'm talking about it like that. But of course, we are talking about Jojo Rabbit. And this was written and directed by Taika Waititi, based on the book Caging Skies by Christine Lernens. I hope I've said that somewhere near right. But this stars Roman Griffin Davis, Thomasin McKenzie, Taika Waititi, of course, because he's in everything he directs, Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, who I normally don't like, but I grew a fondness of sorts to her, at least in this. You know, Alfie Allen, there's a great cast here, and of course Scarlett Johansson, who maybe was in the film because of the Marvel connection with Taika Waititi, I don't know, but I think it just shows the level that he's at, that he can get these people who are very hot properties, but also really good actors as well. You know, he knows what he wants, he knows the roles that he needs to fill, and he knows what he needs out of an actor to fill those roles. And I respect him as a filmmaker. I think my first exposure was What We Do in the Shadows, which I may cover down the line, and I loved it. I thought it was an amazing, idea and amazing execution. And then, I followed him throughout, and I've grown a fondness for this guy, and I think the whole world has. This is a guy who's got a particular voice, a particular style, and, the projects he chooses to do either work right for him or he makes them work right for him. But this one was one that he apparently struggled to make, and I can see why. Because we have the tale of a young boy who joins the Hitler Youth, already into dodgy subject matter, happens to have an imaginary friend who is Adolf Hitler, at least a, heavily stylized and, perfect version, as children are wont to do. So we're getting even further into muddy waters. Then a child basically blows himself up on a grenade. You're in this is very difficult for us to actually make territory right there. And it's no surprise that it was out on Fox Searchlight rather than a big studio production. This film has a lot of heart. We have a mother who, is a single mother in Nazi Germany. He's dealing with all the problems that comes with that because she isn't a Nazi herself. She does not subscribe to the idea that they are superior to Jews or anyone in any way. And she's a beautiful person on the inside as well, because of that. She's got a lot of love for her son. She's doing what she can to help him survive, but also to get out of this horrible war that really has no place existing. This is the thing that should not have happened. And she's doing her best to fight that. Obviously, on the down low, because the Gestapo, etc. And Stephen Marchant does come in later on as a great turn as a Gestapo officer. And I think that he's basically, when we lose Richard O'Brien, I could see Stephen Marchant filling in a lot of those roles. His smile's a little too wide, it's a little unnatural. And I can see it working. A West Country Richard O'Brien, he's got a creepiness factor enough to me. I don't know if anyone else picks up on that. Please let me know in the comments. But I think he could work in that role. But he does great here, as a Gestapo officer. But of course, we have the whole situation where Jojo discovers the girl in the walls, who happens to be a Jew. So he decides to try and write this book to get the information out of her. Right, we need to know what the Jew is. Tell me everything you know so I can make this book, which will help the guys I can no longer directly help, I can no longer fight with because of my scarring and the injury from the grenade. So do what you can, tell me everything so I can help them with this book. But over the course of writing this book, he develops a fondness and a sort of relationship with his Jew friend, if you will, and starts to really feel for her. I think this, as much as anything, is a coming-of-age story. This is basically the story of a young boy growing up because he has to. But when he's showing that empathy, he's gone from all Jews are evil, they hang upside down like bats and, lay eggs and things like that. The she-Jews are the most evil and they have horns, which is basically what they were being told. Remember, this isn't a young child imagining all this. This is truly what kids of that era were told. And that's awful. But over time, he learns of Nathan, her long-lost love. And, just starts to use his imagination to make her feel better with Nathan. And we get the revelation in the end, which I did see coming, that Nathan actually had died a while ago. So all these letters that he'd written as Nathan, she knew already that was Jojo doing what he could and being kind. And in a way, I think she being a little older, she could, I don't know, it's almost playing into the crafty Jew stereotype in a way, but I don't think that's what we're meant to take away from it. It is the idea that she's like, okay, there is good in this boy because he's trying to make me feel better. Even though he sees me as other, he's trying to make me feel better. And I can work with this. If I can get him to really be on side, I can get out of this, hopefully. But over time, we see this wonderful bond with his mum. She loves dancing and everything like that. And one of the most heartbreaking scenes I think I've ever seen in anything. I was sat there with a drink in my hand and I just held it for a long while when we see her shoes on the gallows. The traitors to the Jewish people are hung right in the town square for everyone to see. And we see her shoes. And we see Jojo see her shoes. I was just sat there just transfixed, just horrified. I felt the crushing defeat in a way that Jojo felt, the loss that he felt. I could feel that, and that is why Taika Waititi's great. He's a very funny guy, but he can deliver. I've said it along, for ages. There's many videos that I say this in. If you give us all the humour, the silliness, you can then earn these moments of extreme dread, extreme terror, extreme sadness, extreme whatever else is the complete opposite of humour. You can earn that, and he does. And the framing of the shots is brilliant as well to convey this. We never see her full body in full shot. We just really focus on the shoes, because that's a big part of her character. We see them so much throughout the film. This is, again, like I said in other videos, a Chekhov's gun scenario. The Chekhov's gun here is her dancing shoes. We see them set up. This is her favourite pair of shoes. She dances around. This is her mum's shoes, in a way, to Jojo. It's probably her only pair of shoes, let's be honest. Germany wasn't financially brilliant during this period. But we've seen them enough that we know instantly that is Rosie hanging there. And like I say, even though there are a load of younger people, teens and things like that, the place was silent. And again, testament to the director here. All massive kind of, his testament to his skill. Massive praise. And we end the film sort of with the occupation of this town by the American forces. They come in, as they did at the end of the war, swoop in and save everyone. I'm not going to dwell on that. We find that Sam Rockwell's character, who I think is clearly meant to be gay here, let's be honest, the outfit he chooses and those couple of moments with Alfie Allen's character as well, definitely, I think. But, they're being rounded up and he just takes the uniform jacket off Jojo and pushes him away to save him. So he can go and weirdly tell, I suppose, his girlfriend now that the war is over, yes, but the Germans won. But then he does allow her to go out and she can then see for herself. And without a word, she just kind of cottons. It's like, oh, you wanted to keep it for yourself. But let's dance because we're free. Because that's the thing that's set up as well. People who are free dance. It's a thing that we do as people. It's a sign that we're happy. It's a sign that we're content. Dancing people are not sad people. So we have this wonderful, beautiful ending of these two people who have lost a lot because of hate. because of this wrong worldview that one guy got a bunch of people to believe in. And okay, you know, the other people probably held similar beliefs already, especially like the close-knit kind of, you know, these lieutenants and what have you. But this is one guy's vision channeled down through a bunch of other racists, you know, to this, and everyone lost something in that war. But even knowing that, you know, the real Hitler did end his life, he still sees, you know, his imaginary Hitler afterwards, who does have a mark on the head, and I thought that was brilliant. But this is the final, to me, this is the final moment of Jojo's growing up. He just straight kicks him out of the window and says, "F off Hitler." Just kicks him out the window, which is brilliant. It's, you know, got a laugh in the theatres, but it also got that tension release that we'd had, I think, you know, about the fact that, what about his imaginary Hitler? The fact that his imagination is so well developed that this imaginary Hitler hates him for his friendship with a Jew. So he's clearly got a good understanding of the Führer, you could say. But the fact that he can just kick him out of there, he's gone. That is no longer a part of my life. And he can now try and pick up the pieces of what he's got left and build a new life, you know, whether it's with someone or not. And yeah, this film was brilliant. You know, I really enjoyed it. It's one of, you know, my top ones of probably the last 10 years, not this decade, because I know technically, has the decade started or is it next year? I don't want to get into that argument. So within the last sort of 10 years from this point, maybe 5 years, you know, I think it's definitely on my top sort of 3. And I think it earned that place really well. But I'm happy to cover more Taika Waititi stuff. You know, I'm quite happy to cover What We Do in the Shadows if people want it. And there's a few more things that, you know, are kind of dark and mysterious, because it's me, that's coming over the next few weeks. So I do hope you'll join me for all of that. But that's it for today on Jojo Rabbit. So, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.